All right, everyone, we have breaking news actually in the last 15-20 minutes. Scotus finally releasing its decision with regards to Trump's ballot eligibility. This was a challenge against the Colorado State Supreme Court in which they ruled that Donald Trump was not eligible to run for the presidency. Basically, their premise was mafifis. Their premise was quite literally, well, we feel that he participated in and fomented insurrection, so he's not allowed to run. Look at Section 3. The problem was that was never going to stand up before Scotus. There was always a near 100% chance Scotus was going to rule in Trump's favor. What makes this ruling different is that it was a unanimous decision. Yes, even hardline Biden appointee far leftists on the court like Ketanji ruled in Trump's favor, saying yes, he is allowed to run. And the premise is quite simple, and I pointed it out long ago when the case first began. Donald Trump has never been found guilty of an insurrection. He has never been charged with insurrectionist activities. There was an impeachment in Congress that led to an acquittal in the Senate. Well, that's not meaningful. There was never any other court case. No duly incepted court ever tried him for insurrection, sedition, or anything like that. He's on trial right now for business fraud and things related to document retention. Those are not insurrection. Those would not fall under the purview of the Constitution for that purpose. The other problem is that there's some legal scholarship that disagrees with the premise that the section is even actionable. And then there's also a disagreement over whether it applies to the president and or the vice president of the United States as public officials. And so there was never any real possibility that they weren't going to rule in favor of Trump. The interesting part is seeing the three liberal justices doing their due diligence, and I congratulate them for this, making it a unanimous decision. This means that the left-wing media is going to have a real tough 48-hour news cycle coming today and tomorrow. It's going to be real rough for them, because they're not going to be able to say, well, the evil Trump-stacked MAGA court has decided that evil Trump is allowed to run for office. Yeah, because clearly he appointed Sotomayor and Ketanji. Yeah, that makes and Elena Kagan. These people would have loved to have ruled against Donald Trump. They would have loved it. To kick him off the ballot and make it impossible for him to accede to the presidency again would be like the icing on the cake for them. Clearly ideologically aligned with the left, not in favor of the kind of things that Trump will proceed to do as president of the United States. They would have loved to. Number one, they never stood a chance. Even Roberts would be a far cry. I mean, he tends to be a liberal justice as well. I like it when they say that it's a far-right court. Well, John Roberts, no. Fuck, Amy Coney Barrett. Brett Kavanaugh is practically the swing vote at this point. He's not exactly a far-right himself. Trump chose, early 80s Reagan-style justices to appoint, actually. And keep talking about how they're extremists. Yeah, real extreme with the fact that they haven't taken up any additional anti-gunnery cases since Bruin and refuse to assert themselves. I think that they should. We'll wait and see. By the way, Jam and Bean, great coffee, some good stuff. With an Anton's mug, there's just links in the description. Donald Trump is eligible to run. So this countermands Colorado, it countermands Maine, it countermands, I think it was Illinois was the most recent decision. He will be on the ballot in all states, just to be clear. But that was a foregone conclusion. The only thing we were waiting for with bated breath in my case as a political analyst is, hey, are the liberal justices going to rule based on their political views, or are they going to do their job? And they did their job. They deserve credit for that, by the way. And Scotus rarely has unanimous decisions. It is very often a very political breakdown within Scotus. It's like a 5-4, a 6-3, or something like that. It's a rare exception where you've got a unanimous decision. And an expedited one as well, which is important for the election's integrity. They were literally trying to prevent Donald Trump from being eligible to run in both primaries and potentially the general election based on the spurious claim that he involved himself in insurrectionist activities. But he was never actually found guilty of that in a due court of law. Effectively, these states were trying to countermand the Constitution's provision for due process. You're not supposed to be punished for something that you haven't been found guilty of by a jury of your peers. Well, Donald Trump's not even on trial for insurrection. So it was a foregone conclusion what the case would be, as far as in the end, the decision was already, we knew that it would be at least a 6-3. I'm very, very glad that the Supreme Court decided to unleash a unanimous decision here. That means it's fully binding. The liberals can't complain. They can't possibly say, well, Ketanji Jackson is controlled opposition. Donald Trump has bought and sold her, or something like that. They're not going to be able to successfully argue that. Look for a polling boost, by the way, for Trump based on this. This is a big decision. It has resounding impact on future elections, too, not just the election in 2024. Had they gone in the other direction and said, yeah, it's okay if states just randomly kick people off the ballot, do you realize how disastrous that would have been? Like, if you didn't have the Trump court right now, if you had a liberal court and they thought that they stood a chance of having a 5-4 against him, they probably would have taken the shot. They probably would have done that. I'm under no illusions that this is, by Ketanji and Kagan especially, that it has anything to do with principle. They would have ruled against him, kept him off the ballot. He might have had a Napoleon moment coming back from exile anyway, but they would have done everything that they could have to do that. The problem is you could then have red states banning Democrats from running, blue states banning Republicans from running, all states probably banning libertarians from running, based solely on the fee-fees of the state Supreme Court or the Secretary of State of that state, which could set up an internal legal battle as well. It would be endless. You'd have constant litigation over this issue if this hadn't been the decision. Thank God that you issued a unanimous decision so that nobody can claim that it's compromised, nobody can countermand it because of their fee-fees, etc., etc. Breaking news, Donald Trump is eligible on the ballot in all 50 states. Foregone conclusion, thankfully it was unanimous. We're having a little bit of a clank victory there. Yeah. I'm McLovin' it. Yeah, I wake up and I'm doing my normal news crawl and then I see that news. It'll be on the live docket as well. Just saying, I'm a little bit hyper-caffeinated at the moment. That's about all. Peace out.